Henry Cavill is best known as Superman, first appearing in Man of Steel, then reprising the role in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice and Justice League, before making a brief, triumphant cameo in Black Adam, teasing a possible return. But for fans hoping to see more of Cavill as the Man of Steel, those hopes were dashed when Warner Bros. Chose to reboot the character, casting David Corenswet in the new Superman film. Cavill's journey with Superman stretches back nearly 2 decades. Starting his career in 2001, he took small roles in film and TV before auditioning for the unmade 2004 film Superman Flyby, directed by McGee, with a script from J.J. Abrams. At just 21, Cavill not only auditioned but also screen tested. An image of him in the Superman costume survives to this day. Superman Flyby promised a darker, reimagined take. Krypton was torn by civil war, with Jor-El battling his evil brother, Kata-Zor. Kal-El was sent to Earth, raised not by Jonathan and Martha Kent, but a man named Ben Kent. Lex Luthor was reimagined as a government agent obsessed with aliens. The story climaxed with Superman dying in battle, only to be resurrected. Ultimately, the project was scrapped when Bryan Singer took over to continue the Donner films. Brandon Routh was cast, and Superman Returns hit cinemas in 2006. Around the same time, Warner Bros. Considered a Batman v Superman movie with Wolfgang Peterson directing. Christopher Nolan ended up directing Batman Begins, and Cavill reportedly even auditioned for Bruce Wayne. Though he wasn't cast as Batman by Christopher Nolan, Nolan would produce and write the Man of Steel movie, which Cavill would ultimately star in. Perhaps his Batman audition left an impression on the director. Finally, Cavill landed the role of Superman in Man of Steel. Even then, fate played a funny hand. During the pivotal call from Zack Snyder offering him the role, Cavill didn't answer. He was playing World of Warcraft. Once he realised he'd missed it, he returned the call, and the rest is history. Cavill stepped into the cape for the first time in 2013, bringing a modern, grounded take to the character while honouring the legacy of Superman. His dedication and persistence had finally paid off. One well-known story is that the producers asked Cavill to shave his chest, but he refused, citing the Death of Superman comic as a reference for the Man of Steel having a hairy chest. Man of Steel performed well enough at the box office to merit a sequel, and Man of Steel 2 was said to be being planned by the studio, though Man of Steel 2 never ended up happening in favour for Batman v Superman. The original idea was to have a trilogy of Superman movies in the same vein as Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy. However, after the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Warner Bros. Wanted to copy that formula and earn as much cash as Marvel were, so the road to a Justice League movie was fast-tracked by the studio. Cavill's Superman faced challenges almost immediately. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice polarised audiences with its darker tone and intense character conflict. Then came Justice League, notorious for its troubled production. Zack Snyder had to step away due to personal tragedy, and Joss Whedon oversaw reshoots and finishing touches. The 2017 theatrical release cut large portions of Snyder's original vision, leaving fans frustrated with an uneven story and minimised Superman scenes. Whedon had actually overseen reshoots and the edit of the movie and condensed the film in under 2 hours in runtime. The final product was a disappointment to fans who didn't get to see Snyder's full vision and were left disappointed by the mess that Joss Whedon had made of the final product. Years later, fan campaigns led to Zack Snyder's Justice League in 2021, restoring much of his footage, including expanded Superman moments, darker tones, and plot threads previously removed. Despite this, the saga highlighted how the studio interference and editorial decisions could reshape a character, leaving Cavill caught in the middle. Even after Justice League released in 2017, we were unsure if we were going to see Henry Cavill return to the character again. It was only after the Snyder Cut of Justice League that the reignition of Henry Cavill returning to the role of Superman had come about again. Cavill had turned down the opportunity to have a cameo at the end of the Shazam movie, and the film featured Superman without seeing his face. This did lead to speculation that Henry Cavill had been replaced already. While Cavill was defining Superman on screen though, Hollywood buzzed with speculation as to what his return would look like. Tom Cruise was rumoured to be considered for the role of Hal Jordan in a potential Man of Steel 2, with Christopher McQuarrie attached to direct. Michael Bay was reportedly considered to helm a sequel back in 2020, but ultimately this went nowhere. These rumours showed just how unpredictable the superhero landscape could be, even for an actor already established in the role. It seemed for years that the future of Henry Cavill's Superman was up in the air. Sure, we could have got Man of Steel 2, but it appeared Warner Brothers had little interest. In 2022, Cavill made a surprise return in a cameo at the end of Black Adam, reigniting fan excitement. Cavill shared on social media how excited he was to return for the role, and he even left the Witcher series on Netflix in order to star as Superman once again. Despite this announcement, there had been no contract signed, and it appeared that this cameo was forced on Warner Brothers by Dwayne Johnson, who wanted to see Black Adam take on Superman in his sequel. For a moment it seemed like Man of Steel might fly again. That hope extended to The Flash, where Cavill was reported to appear, but rumours suggested his scenes were cut, leaving fans disappointed once more. There had been reports that Cavill had shot a scene that was supposed to feature at the end of the film, though there doesn't seem to be any concrete information that this actually happened, nor has Cavill ever confirmed this to be the case. At the same time as Henry Cavill announcing he's returning to the role of Superman on social media, James Gunn had been given the head of DC Studios by Warner Brothers. With James Gunn being made head of DC Studios, he had intended to reboot Superman and the entire cinematic lineup for the DC movies. Gunn had stated that this was the plan when he was hired and was baffled by Henry Cavill's announcement about returning as Superman. After this, Gunn had invited Cavill in for a meeting to reveal that they wouldn't be moving ahead with his Superman movie, which was a real shame for Henry Cavill, who had just announced his triumphant return. Cavill was gracious about it though, and wanted to make sure he announced this to the fans himself, and he didn't want it coming from DC Studios, which James Gunn obliged him. After this, Warner Brothers had decided to reboot Superman, casting David Corenswet in the role. Cavill's era officially ended. In interviews and on social media, he gave a heartfelt farewell to the character he had pursued for nearly 2 decades, a chapter-closing moment for both him and the fans who had grown up with his material. Henry Cavill's road to Superman was long, filled with near misses, triumphs, and heartbreak. Though his tenure may have ended, his dedication and portrayal of the Man of Steel have left a lasting legacy, proof that sometimes the journey itself becomes the story. How did you rate Henry Cavill as Superman? What are some of your favourite moments from the movies that he starred in? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure to click the bell icon to receive notifications for all of my future videos. That's it for now, thanks for tuning in.